We are a nation on the move. It's the American way, always looking for faster, safer, and more efficient ways of getting around. For America's transit providers, safety and security have always been job one, but changing times require new strategies for keeping our transit clients, staff, and communities safe. Transit systems large and small must act now to make safety, security, and emergency preparedness a top priority. There's a lot more to transit than just catching a ride. Transit plays a crucial role in the response capability of the community at large. Transit staff can be the eyes and ears of the neighborhood, a first line of prevention. Transit resources also provide essential support to fire, police, and other emergency services. In light of a changing world, transit providers are stepping up to play a new role as partners in safety and security for a nation on the move.
Today more than ever, there's a heightened recognition that transit has an important role, a life-saving role in many cases in the community, and a first responder role in a lot of emergency situations. That is causing emergency response organizations as well as transit organizations themselves to reevaluate the kind of training, the kind of skills that they have, and the kind of participation they have overall within their communities.
Your emergency management people need your help and can use your help. Please be willing to work with them, and please create the partnerships now that you'll need to have a successful response to some type of disaster.
Transit providers don't just have to prepare for disasters in the future, they must confront safety hazards on a daily basis. Common transit hazards include everyday accidents like slips and falls, vehicle accidents, as well as the less common but potentially serious risk of hazardous material spills and loss of critical infrastructure, such as telephone and computer systems. And of course, transit providers must prepare for natural disasters like floods, severe winter weather, tornadoes, earthquakes, and hurricanes. Additionally, all transit providers must face threats to the security of their employees, passengers, and agency resources. These threats include difficult or violent passengers and a wide variety of criminal threats. And while a terrorist attack in rural America may seem unlikely, there are heightened concerns for transit security even in rural communities. In order for transit systems to provide a safe and secure ride for their clients and to serve as a resource for other agencies, transit employees must learn how to work with emergency responders. This includes learning the structure of the National Incident Management System.
I think everyone from the fire and police departments right down to the Boy Scout, everybody in the community should be familiar with it. Every agency, especially public service agencies, should be trained and should know the flow chart of NIMS.
In simplest terms, community transit providers have three key roles to play in safety, security, and emergency response and preparedness. That of first preventer, first responder, and first on scene. Because transit employees are out in the community as much as fire and police, and frequently on a predictable schedule, they may be in the very best position to recognize potential safety hazards and security threats. Each driver and maintenance employee is a line of defense and prevention against crime, accidents, and even terrorism.
They need to look for things that are out of the ordinary, because every day we get kind of lulled into a type of complacence, because things are just the same day by day by day. Oh, something's out of place here. What's that big package doing there? Wasn't there before? Why is it here now?
Well, since we have so many buses out on the highway, our buses usually see something when it happens before anybody else does. They'll call into dispatch, and then in turn our dispatch will call into the police and fire dispatch, and they will report where the accident occurred, how many vehicles, if there were any injuries, what kind of assistance is needed.
The second major role that is emerging for transit providers is that of first responder. Transit can provide people, information, and property to support evacuations, transport first responders, provide mobile shelter, and more.
One time before, they had a fire at a senior housing complex, and they knew we had buses with lifts. So they called on us. We had about 7 or 8 buses out there. We transported probably 200 or 300 people.
Perhaps the most important role for community transit providers is that of first on scene, responding appropriately to passenger falls, minor or major accidents, hazmat spills, and criminal activity on or around their bus. Such incidents require swift, decisive action to protect life and property. It is vital that transit regularly practice evacuation drills, emergency communications protocols, and activation of its emergency response team in order to respond correctly and decisively to accidents or incidents on board. Transit plays a critical role in safety, security, and emergency preparedness and response, and must be at the planning table. It's time for transit providers to step up to the challenge. They must identify which assets are most essential to continuity of operations, evaluate and prioritize threats and their potential impact, and be active participants in the local emergency management community.
By taking the simple step of just examining the resources you have available, the fleet, your personnel, the training they have, that is a major step you have taken to integrate yourself in the process, because that is a list of resources you can take to your local fire chief, the police chief, the mayor, and say, here are some resources available at your command to help with the emergency management process, and it doesn't cost a dime.
But transit providers can't do it alone. Community leaders such as mayors, city council members, and emergency response officials must recognize the benefits of involving community transit in safety, security, and emergency preparedness and response. The result will be a safer community for everyone.
When we have an emergency before the impact, we call all these people in. Transportation, police, National Guard, the fire service, the emergency medical service community would come in and work behind me. That way you have some personal contact with those people to get things done.
So up until a couple of years ago, we weren't at the table, and now we are in the master plan for emergency preparedness here in Carroll County. If there's an incident in Carroll County, I'll get a phone call that I am needed over at the command center, and I'll have a portable radio where I can contact our office as well as our drivers and direct operations from the command center.
The one thing that we all need to do is to work together with one another. No one jurisdiction can sit by itself and pool the resources that's needed to be able to handle a bad incident. We all need to work together, and we need to start planning together now to be able to deal with those situations when they occur.
Across America, communities are responding to this challenge by embracing transit's emerging role in safety, security, and emergency preparedness and response. Resources are available through the National Rural Transit Assistance Program, like the Threat and Vulnerability Toolbox. The result is a safer, more secure nation on the move.
We are first responders. In a lot of cases, we make the difference between life and death in emergency situations in the communities. We need to think about that. We need to be prepared.